Guess what, everybody? This video features Stampin' Up's watercolor pencils. I had such a fun time playing around with the watercolor pencils and trying all different things with them, and I want to share some of the things I learned with you today. Here is the package of watercolor pencils, and you can see there are 13 colors, and they are Stampin' Up's colors. So we've got a nice little rainbow with some neutrals as well. Whisper White here, you can't really see that one there. So I wanted to point that out. You take them out of the package. They do indeed look like a beautiful rainbow, like that. I like to actually, and they're numbered too, so you can keep them in order, but I actually like to move this one over closer to the red because it's melon mambo. So now we've got this perfect little rainbow and we're ready to get our watercoloring going. Now you can use all different papers and tools when watercoloring. So I'll show you those differences. I'm going to start out by using Whisper White, and you want to make sure to use the archival ink. This, you may need to heat set it for a minute if you're going to watercolor immediately after. But I'll start out with a small little image here from Bella and Friends. Now with this one, I will start with a little bit of Pacific Point. And as I'm coloring him in, I want to avoid the eyeball so we don't give him a blue eye. I'll just kind of roughly put some color down there. Now with Whisper White, it's not as forgiving as some of our other papers, so I'm going to use a blender pen to fill in and smooth that color out. Oh, so beautiful. It just slides everything, all the color in the right place. Now once that's done, you can go back with your pencil and add a little bit of darkness to some of the details. You can even highlight some areas. You can also, with the blender pen, just take the color directly from the pencil and add it to that way. Now that's the blender pen. I did this image earlier with the blender pen Aqua Painter, so you can see that one. He's got a little bit more of a watercolored look, a true watercolored look, and then this one is without either, just a dry coloring in. So you don't need water. You can do a plain old coloring book method with your pencils, which is really fun too. So you've got to try it all out and see what you like. One question that you might be asking yourself is, can I do some shading with watercolor pencils? And the answer to that question is absolutely. Let me show you here with this darling little monster. I have already laid down some color in Old Olive. Now I'm going to go back and add another layer of color before I watercolor, just to darken up certain areas. So you'll find with watercoloring there are 3 steps. The first is laying down some color. The second is adding water or blending. And then the third step is to let that dry. Then you take a look at it and reevaluate and decide if you want to do all those 3 steps over again. So I'm just going to try to get kind of a darker area over here. And now with my Aqua Painter, let's go back and color or blend these colors together so it looks all smooth. With the watercolor paper, it's just so amazing when watercolor, you can just add so much water to it and continue to blend. It really absorbs a lot, so that is nice. I'm avoiding his teeth so he doesn't have green teeth. If you do happen to give him green teeth, you can go back with the Whisper White pencil and color those in. There we go, get around his paw. So there you can see how blended and beautiful that looks. All ready to go. Now here's one that I did earlier that looks the same. We want to start to give him a little bit of life. So the first thing I thought of was he needs some pink cheeks because he is a happy monster, so let's make him happy. Now I kind of went back and forth on which color I should use, so I thought, okay, I'm going to mix them together, which you can do with the watercolor pencils. You can blend different colors. So I've mixed Real Red and Melon Mambo. And just add a little pink cheeks right there to his. Ooh, those are pretty vibrant. Oh, look how cute he looks though. I love that. Here's one I did previously. You can see little pink cheeks and a nice little colored tummy and paws. So it looks so cheerful. I love that. One other question you may have is, can I do a watercolor wash with colored pencils? That's kind of a situation where you're just using a lot of smooth color. So how does that work? So let me show you that. This time with this image, I am using the Shimmery White cardstock, which is kind of in between Whisper White and watercolor paper. It does have a little more allowance when watercoloring, you'll find. So I've got my Bermuda Bay pencil, and with these, when you're adding the color, you kind of want to have a light touch. You don't want to push really hard. You'll also want to keep a pencil sharpener nearby, but I actually like it better when the pencils are kind of dull, or they have a flat surface that you can use. So there's our first layer of color. Let's go back now with our Aqua Painter and blend that, making sure not to go over the image because we're still going to give her some, give her clothes some color. Right now we're just blending this color. And as we're doing it, we're kind of pulling the color out to make a nice little sort of box around her. It's like she's walking through a real rainstorm, so we want to give her that rain there. Now as you keep blending, you'll see all of those marks go away. And when you're finished, you need to let that dry. Then you can kind of go back with, I like to go back with just taking some of the color right off the tip of the pencil, and then you just kind of touch it down, and you can give her a little lightness and darkness wherever you would like. Now you need to let this dry before you do the rest of her outfit, because if they touch, then they'll bleed. So beware of that. There we go. So you can see how that's starting to take shape a little bit. Here is one that I did before. It's all dry and finished. So you can see, I love how the edges look when you're watercoloring. Never have I ever watercolored anything that's looked the same 2 times in a row. It always looks different. It's an individual work of art. So that's one of the funnest things about it. Now this is actually, I'll show you a finished project right here where you can see she's got the watercolor wash around her and then some detail given to her outfit, some color given there. Here's a couple other projects. Cute little baby sleeping on the moon. You can see the lightness and darkness of the moon, little light down here, and same with the baby's outfit, some shading there. And finally, little rocking horse. Lots of lightness and darkness there, done with the early espresso pencil. I think you'll find that watercoloring with the watercolor pencils is so much fun. It's really a great way to express your creativity and create an individual work of art. Contact your demonstrator today or order from our online store. Thanks, bye.